Now that we've covered querying with our content provider, it's time to start inserting data. Let's take a look at the incomplete content provider insert function we provided in the source code. As you can see, this function takes advantage of the URI matcher code, but it only requires the base URIs. That's because inserts are fundamentally simpler. We simply want to make sure that the right record ends up in the right table. The data that is contained in the other URIs, such as location and date, will actually be in the content values used in the insert. Note that if we wanted to, we could support all of the URIs here, but it makes the implementation of the insert function far more complicated. When we insert into the database, we wanted to notify every content observer that might have data modified by our insert. It turns out that cursors register themselves as notify for descendants, which means that notifying the root URI will also notify all descendants of the URI, ones that contain additional path information. Just like with calling our content providers, we can use a content resolver to notify our content observer. As you can see, the root URI for each table in Sunshine just contains the content scope, the authority, and the table name. In the case presented, the content URI that contains a date is a descendant of the plain weather content URI. If we notify based on anything other than the root URI, then a cursor listening on the root URI will not get notified of a change that would certainly impact it. So we have to be very careful when doing that. Let's go back to the source code. For weather, we just passed the parameters that came into the content provider into the database insert call. We should throw an exception if the insert fails. The only trick here is to make sure we return the correct value, which is a URI. Fortunately, we made a function to build these URIs, which contain the weather path followed by an ID. If we were being complete in our content provider implementation, we should also implement these URI types in the contract URI matcher and query function. But the beautiful thing about implementing a content provider, especially if it's only being used by your application, is that you only need to implement the features you use. So we just set the return URI by using the build weather URI function.